Alright folks, this is Acid Roots here. Welcome to another episode of the Beef Ravioli Run. So we're going to get out of the demo mode and get finished up with this. I really estimate that this episode included, there's probably only like another 2 or 3 ones after this, because we're basically going to head to the final dungeon in this game, at least to my knowledge. It's been a while since I've seen this game completed, but I mean, I've vastly done most of it. And that's kind of the concept here, is just being able to kind of have like the rest of this game completed, because we're in the 90% as far as how much of this we've got done. In this episode, there's still a little bit more. These characters have been talking about Captain Mac, and that's basically the pirate ship of the game, which I don't know. It's a pretty cool area, but it stumped me. I'm just gonna admit, like, it did. I wasn't expecting like the puzzle design of it, but like, really, you could be walking around there pretty aimlessly if you don't eventually figure out. I mean, I like the concept of this game because it does that. It's a little bit different than, most typical RPGs that kind of have that stuff. I mean, it's probably, maybe it's not different, but the concept of remembering these type things, it's kind of Zelda-oriented, and it's probably not expected for it. So it's just interesting to have kind of gotten that. But so there is a little bit of like errand running that we have to do before we can get to the said point. So I'm just going to go ahead and showcase some of that. You're going to see some of the backtracking, but at least we'll have some extra stuff. So one thing I made the mistake of, and I'm probably going to have to leave the final dungeon. Like, when we get, by the end of this episode, we will be at the final dungeon. And the thing about it is I did not stock up on seeds. And that's kind of a problem, because I feel like with all the money that you have, you can basically get 99 seeds and still probably have way more money left over. But I didn't do that, and the thing about it is spoilers here, but you have to fight all 4 of the boss characters from each of the crystal areas again. So this is kind of, I feel like, basically going through 4 mini dungeons plus the final dungeon, it just makes sense to have 99 or the most possible seeds that you can have. And I just don't feel like, I think I bought like 25 or 35 or something, and I really don't feel like that's enough to get through all the rest of the game. So I'm gonna, like, maybe this seed area right here was where I was talking about with that, but yeah, I need way more seeds. So I'm probably gonna have to exit the dungeon. I'm just kind of hoping, because I did manage to defeat one of the dungeon bosses, which was that bone dragon from like the very first areas in this when you watch this playthrough, but I just am curious about the rest of them. So it's just kind of, I'm gonna exit the dungeon, and then if I have to do it, I'll just do what I got to off screen, and then we'll resume at like the snow area. So that just would kind of be the thing. So but at least you get to see Fireburg one last time, the most lit town in the game, basically for 1992, the Las Vegas town of the game, which is pretty neat. But this is kind of underneath the impression of, I don't feel like going through the areas. I mean, obviously it's convenient that they have this little path that you can take. So that's what we'll do. But yeah, so you're not going to really see these battlefields get cleaned out. I mean, I do suppose I could have done them if it really felt necessary, but it's just like, I mean, maybe I could have leveled up. I mean, it's just strange to sit there and think. I wonder if, like, the highest level you can get to in this game is 99, and I'm sitting there at, like, level 29 or level 30 and stuff. I mean, honestly, I don't think it really matters too much. I mean, you would be considerably stronger, but just to kind of say and stuff, like, I don't know. I mean, I just don't really feel like doing the grinding to get to that point, but I mean, if absolutely necessary, I could do it when I go and buy the seeds for the next episode, but it's just kind of, really, it's just tying up some loose ends between this episode 9 and the eventual episode 10. I mean, this is an episode I did back in May. It just has surfaced now because I'm finally in the mood to do it, but yeah, I just would have to say that, like, episode 10 will probably, I mean, I could probably get the gameplay for it, but like I said, if I do decide to level up, and then on top of that, kind of getting the seeds and exiting the dungeon and then doing the stuff that I have to do again, this is kind of one of those situations, but we'll see how it goes. So, I've got some donuts sitting next to me. I'm kind of hungry, but I'm probably not going to have those. I probably should have oatmeal, I've had applesauce today, and I'm just kind of thinking of other things that would probably be on the healthy tip. I bought some bananas yesterday. I actually do make Walmart runs for bananas solely because they do help out in terms of keeping you nice and healthy and stuff. So it's just kind of... I also got some beef jerky, so that's one thing I have at the house now, folks, is I always seem to have beef jerky. I just make sure. Can't really eat Slim Jim as much, but I do at least like Jack Link's. So. Yeah, this is a quaint little game. I mean, I really feel like the only thing I feel like this game lacks is just in terms of like sheer interesting dialogue. I mean, occasionally, maybe like an eighth or a 12th of the time, it'll have the occasional like dialogue blurb that's interesting, but I just feel like Final Fantasy 6 and 4 are just so much more enthralling in terms of the dialogue that they have, and Chrono Trigger is like that also. I would even say the Super Mario RPG game has better dialogue. I mean, it's not to say that this game is lame, but just kind of the concept as far as saying that it just felt kind of just brief and brisk. It's really the whole thing about it. But now I almost, the funny thing about this area is just the fact that I almost didn't. There's like a particular stage coming up where I almost did not wind up getting this area, but luckily I think you have to do like the warp pads, and I think in 2018 when I played this game I did them back in those days, but I don't know how to, I mean, I guess that was just pure wisdom on that part, just being able to do it, but you do have to unlock those warps, and there's one right there that you use, and I didn't really show them off. I mean, the warps in this game are really not that important to me, but I guess ultimately they do serve a purpose. But that would have been probably another 20 or so minutes worth of backtracking that I would have had to figure out how to have done it if I had not done it 4 or 5 years ago. Now, this is kind of the concept, but this is like, luckily that was not the case. I mean, honestly, this is not like, for the sake of it, like a 100% playthrough. I mean, there's still stuff. I mean, this game is not like as thorough as like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy 6, but it still has enough to where if you're not paying attention, you can kind of get lost. So it's just kind of, luckily I at least took care. So just pay attention to the earlier episodes if you're wondering how to get those warp pads, because I really don't remember at this stage. So, but you need them for this area because that's how you get the Captain Mac and stuff. And, I might just be delusional. You might just automatically unlock them when you get further in the game. I'm not really sure, but I would say H.C. Bailey definitely knows. But, so yeah, we've got some extra stuff to get here. Trying to think of what else has been going on and stuff. I had a Crunchwrap Supreme a few hours ago, and that was really tasty. Nice bit of munchies from Taco Bell. Really, they're not as good when you say, I saved one in the fridge, and it's not as good as when you have like yeah, they're not quite as good in the fridge. I mean, it's decent, but the crunch in the Crunch Wrap kind of disappears a little bit. It's not quite, it's more, not a Crunch Wrap, it's more of a soft wrap Supreme. It tastes more like a soft taco, but that's the thing about tacos, you can't really refrigerate them that well. For some reason, it just kind of, Yeah, so keep in mind that Windia is an important town. It is. I mean, that's how we're going to get to Captain Mac's place. You have to... The game is kind of assuming, especially back in like the mid-90s, that you just look around and you figure it out from there. Yeah, so they're basically telling you that you need the warps in order to figure this stuff out, but luckily it's right in this building. So, get the treasure chest real quick. I mean, always be, like, glad to get the heal potions, just because, I mean, unless you have, like, the funds to be able to keep spending on them, it just helps because sometimes you can get status effects on your characters like 3 times in a battle or more. This is kind of... I mean, obviously you should know that by this stage in the game, but it's just good to have them. So, yeah, so there's another thing, I forgot to do this, but like I think we have to talk to Kaylee or something like that. No, maybe it's Phoebe. I'm not really sure. No, it was Kaylee. Yeah, they need to make more role-playing games. I know I've probably said this countless times by this point, but this would be a nice kind of concept, especially for like the Xbox Series X and PS5. I would really think, I mean, if they can make another Ninja Turtles game like Shredder's Revenge, which is a pretty kick-ass game, I would definitely kind of say it'd be brilliant to kind of get like another Final Fantasy, kind of like this, kind of like Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, that type stuff, where you just have like 1 or 2 party members. I mean, I feel like the gameplay in this is just so easy just because it's just 2 characters the whole way through, and that's what you have to deal with, and it just bases the whole thing. There'd be so many interesting things that they could do with it. It's a real brief, kind of maybe 20-hour game or something, which is short for a Final Fantasy game. That'd be the thing. They need to do it. I mean, the developers of these games need to figure it out, you know. Yeah, so really the first half of this gameplay that I recorded, I did not figure it out. So there's going to be kind of some aimless wandering here where I thought that you just had to fight the enemies and get to the bottom of the boat or whatever. But that's not really what you have to do. I mean, it's more puzzle solving. I mean, you do have to do like maybe 2 or 3 fights, but it's not to the degree that you would think it is. You do not have to fight every single one of these enemies in this dungeon, and they're kind of annoying. On top of that, they're tough, and you definitely need the power-ups and the items to be able to make sure that they don't make short work. You know, Ruben is not quite as tough as Kaylee was, and there's like another character, like, yeah, you'll see the next character we get after that, they're tough also, so it's just kind of, but other things that's going on here. Yeah. I'm liking eBay. eBay is a fun website nowadays. It's definitely fun to mess with eBay and such and get some extra stuff, because, you know, as much as I like Amazon, it doesn't really have every last thing that I would like it to have, so I definitely feel like eBay is like a secondary vessel just to kind of be able to have in secondary terms beyond that. I can just actually say, especially for my music taste, I just feel like the more I continue to grow my music taste, the more I'm just like, I appreciate the concept of being able to have like a secondary, because I really, you know, some of these websites, there's a lot of them that are just only, like, if you want like an Eminem or like a Jay-Z CD or something like that, you have to go to their website to get it, but it's not like they make Jay-Z gift cards or something. You know, that's not something you're going to find at like a Walgreens or something, or a gas station. It's getting like a Jay-Z gift card, but you will be able to find an Amazon card. So this is kind of, I mean, that's why it's just easier, but I kind of don't like when webs or, you know, musicians will have like exclusives only to their website. I mean, it's like you're going to get the money either way. It's just kind of, this makes it trickier, you know. But kind of the aspect there. Yeah, these enemies, those like Medusa type enemies were at the beginning of the game. They were not that fun enemies. They're still not fun now. Looking back, they kind of piss you off just as much. It's kind of the thing. Luckily, both characters have the life spell and that type stuff. I mean, they are fairly tough. I mean, I think I mean, really, with the character, with the party member that you get in the game being at 31, I guess it means at the end of the day you don't really have to be at like level 80 or something like that. It'd probably make things a lot simpler, but just to still kind of say, you know, I think even doing all the battlefields and grinding through all of those, I still kind of feel like there is a possibility that it may not make too terrible a difference. It may just be a lot of tedium. But this is kind of the thing, but you know. Looking back, I'd like this game to have like voice acting. I mean, it'd be another thing if they could do like a rehash of this game and kind of put some new life into it. I'd like to know what some of these characters would sound like. I mean, I kind of envision like Benjamin kind of being more of like a real Yu-Gi-Oh or Gohan from Dragon Ball Z type vibe, where he kind of has like a real kind of spry and peppy kind of voice. Even like Mega Man, if you've listened to his voice and like the original, not Mega Man X, but like the original Mega Man. You know, it's having like a real high-pitched voice for a guy type stuff. It's real kind of like that. But I'd say, you know, Ruben would probably be like the, hey kid, you know, the gruff kind of baritone voice. And, yeah, you know, Kaylee and Phoebe and those characters would probably sound just like, you know, typical women would. But, yeah. They didn't strike me as tough girls kind of characters, so I just kind of say, you know, you get the concept behind it, is hearing some voice acting and stuff, and even like some of the boss characters. I mean, there's not an overt amount of dialogue in this game, which is kind of the concept there, but it still would be interesting just to kind of have that extra stuff, because I don't know what it is about role-playing games anymore. It just feels like folks don't really do them. Like, Nintendo has tried doing them with, like, the Wii machines, like the Wii U, and then the Switch, but they're just, like, so... They lack so much distinction. They really need, like, the developers behind, like, Dragon Warrior, the original Final Fantasy back from, like, 30 years ago, and then, like, folks like Chrono Trigger and the guy that did Dragon Ball Z, you know, Toriyama and those type people. Those are the people that they need to hit up again. Or even like Kojima from the Metal Gear series, is some of those folks that can make distinction and make the characters jump off the page with great artwork, and then that would lead to great cutscenes and that type stuff. Because I feel like, you know, the Chrono Trigger, when they redid that for the PlayStation 1, that had some really cool anime scenes that made it feel like it was like a television show, and this game could do that with the right artwork. This feels like, you know, they should totally get like the dude that did like Naruto or One Piece or one of those shows and try to get that in motion. It'd be pretty interesting to kind of see that. But yeah, you know, I mean, role-playing games and anime just kind of go hand in hand. That's why it's too bad that more of those things just don't naturally kind of happen. But they need to. I mean, I do miss those days. I mean, there's folks that are like wholesomely obsessed with Minecraft, wholesomely obsessed with Fortnite, wholesomely obsessed with some of those games, but you know, 30 years ago, at least in some cases, you know, it was Final Fantasy, and, you know, in some cases like Pokemon and those type games, but it's just, you know, those things need to make a re-emergence somehow in the right sense. I mean, if they can pull it off, if they're not just like dorky kind of, you know, G-rated anime, I would say it'd be okay, but you just would have to look after it and, you know, so... But yeah, I'm saving a lot. I'm just kind of like, hell, I have to save rather often, just in terms of, yeah, it's just good to kind of make a habit of saving at this stage, just because it's the end of the game. Now, really, this game is more just about the tediousness of it, the kind of tedium, but it's a very patient game. That's the thing about it, is it's just very old school in terms of just how things are different. I mean, really, I know this game would not last in today's culture. I mean, myself included. I mean, there's been a number of times just me playing this game across the past year, I've just said, wow, this is a really kind of sluggish game, but I respect it. You know, that's the thing. I can at least have respect for this type of game. And I was just thinking about, like, you know, I noticed, like, in terms of machines that are portable, like the PlayStation Vita and, like, the Nintendo 3DS, there's really none of that anymore. There's just none. And that's kind of too bad, because I feel like two-dimensional games like this one right here would be pretty outstanding to have like some machine that could just do it. Like anytime a video game developer says, well, I want to make another game like Mario or Sonic or something like that, or classic Final Fantasy or classic Zelda or something, there should be a machine where you could get those kinds of games. I don't know why they don't do it. I mean, because I miss two-dimensional games, so that's a vessel that I definitely wish was still around, and it'd be incredibly useful. I mean, I would definitely think if it could have the power of like an Xbox One or an Xbox Series X or something, but it could just do that for like, you know, two-dimensional stuff, it'd be pretty outstanding to kind of see. Because this, you know, I think that kind of the reason why this game was so limited is just because it came out in 1992, so obviously with the technology that they had at that time, they had to deal with the limitations. But you know, obviously 30 years later, they could probably make about 30 of these type games and cram it into one. I mean, just the way Final Fantasy IX was for the PlayStation, that was a 4-disc game. Final Fantasy VIII was a 4-disc PlayStation 1 game, so those were packed to the gills, and that's really the thing about it is, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of me getting by on the skin of my teeth here, trying to make this particular Let's Play of this game, just because I normally don't have the patience for this type of stuff. But I've always wanted to kind of complete more Final Fantasy games. I just feel like it's a fashion I like to do, and I respect this game enough, but like I said, it's really just getting by on the skin of my teeth and really having to push myself to want to do it. It's just kind of the fashion about it. It's just like, hell. But yeah, I'm completely going in the wrong direction. Here I am thinking that this is leading me somewhere, but this is just kind of aimless right now. I could have trimmed it down, but hey, it's the beef ravioli run, so that's what we have to work with right now, is just a bunch of aimless stuff, and you just get prompt conversation for 2 o'clock in the morning fanfare. That's what this is intended for. Yes, late night sessions. You know, you ordered pizza like 2 hours ago, or maybe 40 minutes ago. Maybe you went to Taco Bell or Pizza Hut or something, or Domino's if you live in the United States. I wonder, like, the pizza companies that they have out in Europe and Australia and some of those places, and Asia, and, you know, just places like that, all these different places, just to be able to say, you know, I feel like Pizza Hut is good enough to where it should be in other continents. Most assuredly, you're missing out. You know, for all the people who are like, well, what the fuck's Pizza Hut? Fuck you, man. And it's like, well, it's good pizza. You know, we've got stuffed crust pizza, stuff like that, and great breadsticks, cheese sticks, that type of stuff, great garlic bread. Domino's even sells sandwiches, which are fucking delectable. I'll tell you, if you're drunk, guarantee you'll eat about 6 of those. Just a fair warning. I recommend it. Go to Domino's. I mean, I always get a particular sandwich. I don't remember what it's called, but it's very good. You know, I've shown it in a vlog channel, but it's kind of the concept. So just know that Domino's serves sandwiches. But yep, it's kind of the concept. I was on Instagram and I saw like this really good looking stuff on Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is a mac and cheese something. It had, you know, I'm gonna break away from this and go look that up. I'm gonna go check my phone and I'll describe it because I forgot, so hang on. Yeah, so it's called the $5 Mac and Cheese Bowl, which basically has chicken bits in there, and it looks really fucking good. That's another thing. I just think it's only there for a limited time, so if you see this, like, you know, 8 months or 15 months from now, I'd probably say it may not, you know, obviously, but it's something I need to fuck around and go try this out. I really do. I mean, I like limited time things with food, but really, most of the time, by the time I get around to actually waking up and doing that sort of stuff, just because I'm on the night schedule, it's always gone. Like Taco Bell, like with the nacho fries, it always feels like anytime I try to get those, they only do it for like, I don't know what the point of doing something limited time. To me, limited time is 2 months. Limited time is not 10 days. That's stupid. I mean, really, that's not the rollout for that sort of stuff is just not enough. I mean, really, it feels like they do stuff for like 20 days or something like that, and that's it. And it's like that's not that's like the most like truncated, just overall small, just kind of lack of promotion for something. It's just to do things for literally 3 weeks. That's just not enough. I mean, I just feel like they probably just buy like 300,000 across the whole country, and then you get it for 2 weeks, and then once they're gone, they're gone. But I don't know why they just, I mean, really, macaroni and cheese and chicken is not that hard to come by, so there's no reason why it shouldn't be around. I mean, obviously, I would have to, if I had to estimate, I'd probably say that the mac and cheese bowl, the $5 mac and cheese bowl, will probably be gone by September. It's late July right now as I do this, but just to kind of say, it's kind of the concept. I mean, when they say limited time, they mean limited time. They mean you can wait till tomorrow, but don't wait a week. You know, that's the concept about those things. They really expect you to bust your ass and get out there and get it. So, but it does look delectable. I'll give it that. So, trying to think what else has been going on here. I kind of need to pick up some groceries. I'm gonna get some food today. I'm gonna get like some Powerade stuff like that. But yeah, it's just kind of, it's been a severe kind of drought. In a lot of ways, there's just like a big drought of what's going on. It's like some folks, they just don't even care about that. It's like the whole thing. I mean, with all this talk about inflation and that type stuff, I mean, really, we need more foods that are going to show up and not be limited time. It's just like, there needs to be like drinks invented or something. Just something that's not a soda, but tastes good. Like, I don't know why there can't just be like new cranberry juices that like compete with things or just something like that. I just would wonder. I mean, for the most part, most people just assume because I'm not really able to have sodas, just kind of underneath the concept that anytime there's a new drink, the first thing that I question is, can I have it? Because, you know, not being able to have things like lemonade and those type things is just like hell, you know. It's just kind of, I would like to try things other than just Powerade. I mean, really, Powerade has not developed new flavors for quite some time. And even if they do, I can't find them just because Walmart only has red, blue, purple, and white, and yellow. I mean, I have not had a pink Powerade in years. I mean, I could go to other places, but I really prefer self-checkout when I go to Walmart. So it's just kind of, there's just not an overabundance. I really question where some of these other places would be to get. Like, I haven't had the green Powerade in years. I really, truly wonder about that. And if you're wondering, it's like, dude, it's just at a fucking gas station. It's like, well, I'm not a very social person about those particular things. I don't really want to have to go to a place where I have to engage in kind of a hodgepodge conversation that somehow gets steered towards, you know, my occupational value and that type stuff, and that just gets on my nerves. But yeah, I would appreciate being able to pick up a green Powerade. I just don't know why Walmart doesn't carry all the flavors. You know, I don't know what they find more gratuitous to be there, kind of the situation, but it's just like the main remark behind it, you know. But yeah, so I need Powerades, and there's other goodies I need, but I do have plenty of Jack Links, and I have stuff like that, just goodies. I'm trying to think of other things, but that's kind of the thing with my vlog channel and stuff like that. There's gonna be a lot of talks about food. I'm just gonna have to spoil some of that concept. I mean, you've seen this. I mean, if you don't know about my vlog channel, it's not really gonna amount to much in terms of that. But just to kind of say, like, the forecast for some of this stuff is I've got kind of a different forecast than in the past, and a lot of it's gonna have to do with like more goodies and snacks and treats and that type stuff. Just because the content that society is kind of dealing without that is becoming more and more trim. So I'm just having to juggle things and different aspects that are, you know, I mean, I've always been a YouTube channel about goodies. Like, if I could still drink Red Bull, it would make appearances in these videos that I'm doing in Let's Play in this channel. But it's just kind of, you know, it's kind of the concept behind it is, you know, the limiting situations just behind having problems kind of results in less decorative kind of situations. But, you know, it's just kind of But yeah, this is the part in the gameplay where I start to figure out what to do. So we're gonna get out of here. I think there's at least one miniature boss battle. I'm not really sure, but it's not that difficult. I mean, for the most part, I know I said that you should be saving, but like I said, it's just because of tedium more so than anything else. Just because it's you know, this all these battles and stuff and just understanding it. But yeah, so. But I do need to get back to Uniracers, and I do need to also get back to Donkey Kong Country 3. I've kind of taken a decent vacation for those games. I just look after it, and I'm just kind of, that's kind of what goes on and stuff. I will have to get to it, but this has been the progress. This has been what I've been wanting to work on. I did a Jackie Chan Stuntmaster video like a week ago or 10 days ago, something like that, and I'm going to try to belt out more of these because I want to. I mean, this channel is just so sporadic. I mean, that's the thing, is you just have to understand that time is not of the essence with this channel. It is kind of thing. You just have to be more patient. I just would recommend for folks to just watch the episodes that are there, and when a new episode shows up, then you add it to the collection. That's my phone, so I don't know if it's a spam call or what. Hang on. Yeah, so yeah, this household gets like over 10 spam calls a day. There's just always something. I wanted to see who that was, but this is kind of the concept about it. This relentless kind of spam call. They just don't care. I mean, sometimes they call at like 8:30 in the morning, and you know, one of my family members said, you know, you're not supposed to call until past 9 a.m. I mean, sometimes they even call on the weekend. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? They don't even I mean, they're committed to that sort of thing, to sit there and call on a Saturday. That's just vindictive almost, to kind of sit there and do that. I mean, it's just, it doesn't, you know, I think even the fact that getting like 10 spam calls a day is pretty obnoxious just within itself. But of course, the concept of having a landline phone is just becoming more and more played out. That is kind of the concept, you know. So, but yeah, that's what we're after here, is, you know, that's what you have to do. You have to climb the pole in order to get past this point. That's all you had to do this whole time. That's the whole concept behind it, is trying to say that. So, just trying to figure out as far as what it is. It's not that difficult. It's just kind of one of those. Yeah, so let's get this fight done and let's see what's up. Let's go find Captain Mac, almost kind of the situation there. Trying to think of what else has been going on. I've got like, yeah, I've got there's some festive stuff coming to Frenchie Talent's channel, so supporting that channel with the Nikki Benz videos and that type of stuff. There's a bunch of ornate things kind of happening over there. It's going to be some fun, and I'm just looking forward to how some of those situations are going to turn up. And just heading into the autumn and the winter is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it's just odd just because, like, I really appreciate autumn, but it's like, that's like the season I'm really able to celebrate the least, just because we usually get like Indian summers, and if you don't know what an Indian summer is, that means a summer where it's, you know, exuberantly hot past September 22nd, when it's supposed to be autumn. When you realize it's like October 15th and November 3rd, and it's still like 75, 80 degrees outside, that type of stuff, that's called an Indian summer. That's kind of the situation about it, is it's like sometimes that happens. I mean, really, it is varies as to when that's going to happen and stuff. But if like summer lasts until November, or it's kind of extreme temperatures until November, and then it just gets immediately cold just in time for the holidays, I mean, obviously that basically fucks over the chances of getting autumn. And autumn I really enjoy. That's the whole thing. Some people, yeah, I notice on Instagram there are folks that they just don't want summer to stop. You know, they don't care that it's September 28th and October 20th, and in some cases even November. They're trying to be in bathing suits and that type stuff, and they're just like, nope, I'm not getting out of the water. That just really happens to kind of be the thing there. Yeah, I don't have a problem with autumn weather, and I kind of think that's like the concept, is just being able to appreciate and being able to see your breath outside when it's September and it's like 65 or 50 degrees in September. I mean, that's how it used to be back in like the early 2000s and that type of stuff. You know, for me as a teenager and stuff, just paying attention to how that kind of went. It's just like, you know, September, October were cool months, and you could indulge and enjoy in that type of stuff. It is just kind of, I don't know. I mean, you have to kind of pick your poison. I wonder if that's another spam call. It's 2 phone calls in 1 session, folks. But yeah, just to kind of say, like, you know, do you prefer to be able to go to the swimming pool in October, or would you rather have it be cooler out and that type of stuff? Is this kind of the fashion about it, and I just look after it, and it's just both ways. I mean, Instagram makes it an easy place to want to appreciate bikinis in the fall, but at the same time, you kind of get fucked out of like typical autumn holidays like hay rides and campfires and that type stuff, and ghost stories and s'mores and that type stuff. This overall good treats and autumn things when it's 85 degrees outside. But you know, it's kind of the situation. But you know, I digress. I would have to say we're gonna get to the final dungeon shortly enough, and yeah, there's just some good stuff here. So like I was saying, I need to get back to Donkey Kong Country 3. I still feel like that's kind of a game. Uniracers also, I feel like these are games that just have a real night session. It's just the way it has to be. You know, really, I mean, you know, you make videos for this sort of crowd, and then it just doesn't get the appreciation that it's supposed to. I mean, if I was like a fiending stoner, you know, just a fiending pot smoker, something like that, and I was looking for Super Nintendo games that just had a lackadaisical kind of feel, that were funny also, and I could, you know, eat a couple bags of Cheetos at 3 o'clock in the morning too, I would definitely kind of say this would be the perfect channel for that. And I was just like, I don't know where all these people went. Where are all the Harold and Kumar viewers? Where are all the Cheech and Chong viewers? I mean, not the 50, 60-year-old people, but like the people who are 23 and know those Cheech and Chong movies. It's kind of the concept I look after. It's like, hey, this is perfect fodder for that sort of stuff. Easily, man. That's the whole situation. I mean, maybe these are a little bit lengthy, but just depending upon if you have the power to digest some of these, you'll definitely be surprised. You know, the way I was doing the original Mystic Quest run on my gaming channel, the 15-minute sessions, I definitely felt like those were just appetizers, really. Those are like breadsticks, you know, you just tear into those. Those are just delectable, but this is difficult. I feel like the concept of like a 2020 slacker seems to be really evaporating. And it's not to say that I feel like, you know, I'm encouraging like, you know, devout slackers that never want to amount to anything, but just kind of the character like Fry and Bender from the characters Fry and Bender from Futurama. Like those crowds of folks, you know, that type of stuff is underappreciated just because there's just not characters created like that anymore. Fry was an idiot. I mean, yeah, he didn't get Leela, but he was still an idiot the whole way through. It was the same thing with Bender. Bender got drunk in every episode, and he shouldn't have been sober. That's the whole thing. They told him, don't go home without drinking. You know, that was kind of a running gag about that, but it was just funny stuff. It's like, well, what are, you know, like, come on now. I mean, obviously, I don't want to detract people from being, like, construction workers and that type stuff, and, you know, developing, like, you know, a new food that's going to kick ass, but this is kind of the situation. Alright, so Phoebe's the final party member in the game, so just know that. That's the character we're going to fight the final boss with. I just have to study up a little bit and see what else. I mean, really, like I said, we at least get done with the Bone Dragon in this episode, but I just kind of feel like I want to get a bunch of seeds so I don't have to leave getting 3/4 done, because I really don't know if 25 or 30 seeds is going to be enough to fight 4 more boss characters. That's kind of the, let's get 99 like we're supposed to. So this episode is kind of extraneous, at least near the end, but I'll just kind of cut out the work that I have to do to get back to that point next time. So there's just going to be some trimming. The basic concept there, but what can you do, you know? But one way or the other, we're going to get done with this fucking game. That's the whole concept about it. I'm done with, like, the nonsensical nonsense about this. This has been plaguing me for however long, and I'm just kind of like, dude, where's my car? You know, it's just kind of... But... yeah, we do have a little bit more of, like, neat kind of situations to kind of encounter here. There's a reason why I went back here, I want to say. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Oh yeah, it's to drive the boat. So. Yep, so I guess that was kind of taken care of. So really, that's the concept. I don't know what I was thinking. We could have been done with this, and I could have, I think, well, yeah, it's not gonna, doesn't matter. This is a dungeon of dungeons. Obviously, if you hated Pazuzu's Tower, which actually can be a lot worse depending upon how well fortune shines upon folks, I just kind of feel like this is going to be interesting. I'm really not looking forward to fighting Pazuzu again, but we'll kind of see what happens there. I'm just going to have to go along with it, and I might just, you know, a lot of this has been blind. But I kind of tend, like I did this when I completed A Link to the Past, when I finally was able to beat A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo. I kind of watched a video showing how to do it. I mean, back in the day when I played that game as a teenager, I only had 2 dungeons left, which was basically Turtle Rock and like maybe one other one that I didn't do. But that was all I had to do left back in those days, 20 years ago basically. It was 2002 when I played that game. I'm losing track of my train of thought as to why I brought that up, but yeah, I don't remember. I had a tangent that I was trying to say about that, but it was just kind of, I was going to say that, yeah, it's just a lengthy dungeon just to be able to kind of talk about, like, you know, just being able to understand it. Well, there's you kind of got a hodgepodge story out of it, but I was basically trying to say that there's a lot to this dungeon and stuff. This is kind of the thing. So yeah, it's going to be, yeah, that's what I was saying is, I'm going to skim through it so I know what I'm doing. I mean, it could be blind, and maybe that would be fun to some folks, but this would result in kind of extraneous kind of amounts. And, you know, I didn't mind doing this 4 years ago with these beefed up episodes, but I really don't like it as much now. I would just prefer to do them in 15-minute formats, but even then, that's still another 10 or 12 more episodes I would have to do, and I really want to get this game done. I mean, this is like a complete, you know, situation about that stuff. It's really, this is it's consistently continued to drag on, so I just feel like there's only one more dungeon. I can probably beat this game. I don't know. It just depends how it works. I'm gonna have to pay attention to see how much of a problem it's gonna wind up being. But it's just gonna result in some kind of rough draft kind of stuff that would go along with it. But this initial area wasn't that bad. It's really, you know, you just have to, I don't think it's going to be as convoluted as the dungeons that had the original bosses in it, but still, you know. I wonder why they never did another Mystic Quest game. I wonder why they never did one of these for the PlayStation. You know, they really didn't do that. They chose to do Final Fantasy Tactics, which was okay, but that's basically just like, you know, a turn-based type, well, it's already turn-based, but those are even kind of like ogre battle type stuff, and it just kind of seems like they should have done a sequel to this. I mean, really, these type spin-off games were good, but didn't happen for the PlayStation, didn't happen for the PlayStation 2. They did Final Fantasy X-2 instead. You know, they made a sequel to Final Fantasy X, and then supposedly people didn't like that game, so there's the Bone Dragon. Yep, I went the wrong way. Try again. On the console, I'm figuring it out though. I didn't realize I was gonna beat this boss in like 6 minutes though, or 8 minutes. Situation. So I was thinking about getting like a turquoise light bulb. I mean, that's kind of a situation there. I'm thinking about, like, if you watch my vlog channel, you know I've had blue light bulbs and stuff. I'm thinking about switching it up and making it like a teal colored one. I think that would be interesting enough to kind of do. But I think it would be interesting. But it's just kind of the you can't buy them in packs. You can only get them one at a time, and I think it's like 18 bucks just for one. I mean, they say it lasts for about a year and 8 months, but that's just kind of the concept behind it. Is you know, obviously, I don't know. It would benefit. I think it would be a new trick, a kind of nifty trick to kind of unveil, but. Skulosaurus Rex or Skullrus Rex. Yeah, I think it's probably Skulosaurus. This guy actually whips my ass a little bit for a while. Kind of pisses me off just trying to figure this out. Just because, like, these ninjas kind of contribute to the fact that this is kind of a bastard, and that's kind of the thing there. But, at least, you know, they imply that you should be at least level 34. I mean, if they're saying that you should be at 34 to complete the game, then obviously the leveling up is really... I mean, I don't want to say that it's synthetic, but it's not... I mean, it doesn't serve too much of a purpose, because I've noticed most of the enemies don't really whip your ass that much in the game, as long as you are compatible with complying with standard role-playing game type stuff. I mean, really, in some cases, I might say I'm underdeveloped, but it's just kind of... You know, it's just relative to, you just have to understand role-playing games to be able to do it. And that's, I mean, this is an entry, like I said, this is a decaf RPG, so that's kind of the concept there. It's really curved pretty simple, so. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about, using seeds just like this. I don't remember how, I mean, regardless of how many seeds I have, I'm going to go back and get 99 just to kind of do that. And I don't know, I may luck out and leave the dungeon and then not have to fight this boss again. I don't know if you have to one take it or not. I mean, it would seem, you would think, just because doing the dungeons in previous segments of the game, that's probably the intention that would wind up happening there, is you basically have to beat all 5 bosses in one take, but I don't think there's any boss character that's going to take 99 seeds or something like that. So maybe that is a concept that maybe you do have to level up. Maybe you should go back and do those battlefields. It's not like I can't. I mean, if I wanted to, I can definitely train, you know, in between this episode and the next episode that you're going to see, and level up and just have an easier time. But I mean, really, the whole thing about it is for the most part, it would feel so much better just to be able to one-shot these characters, you know. It would really help. That's just kind of the thing, so maybe I should, you know, maybe this is an indication that if I'm losing to the first boss out of 5 of them, that maybe I should level up a bit. I'm gonna have to pay attention. I mean, really, it's not like I have to be level 50, but at least leveling up a little bit more could benefit quite a bit. Just the tedium, you just have to go through it. You just have to kind of sleepwalk with this. It's kind of like those training segments in movies where they play the music and they kind of have like the training segments and fast forward, and they give you like those thumbs ups and that type of stuff, and the head nods of approval and that type of stuff. That's just what I'm going to have to do for this game. So, but yeah, still got another 4 minutes, not too much more. But yeah, we actually do get to the ice segment in this, but it's just kind of Yeah, I will probably also do another episode of Donkey Kong Country 3 and Uniracers, because I'm just kind of feeling like I want to return to those. After I get this episode uploaded, I'm going to probably return to those, get a few more of those belted out, and pretty much we'll have 3 new games. I can just do 3 new Super Nintendo games, and maybe I could throw in a PlayStation game. Maybe we'll even go back to Tomb Raider. I mean, I've said a number of times that game gave me trouble, but if we can go back to Tomb Raider, I would say the hell with it, you know? Just too bad that the very second stage in the game wound up pissing me off like that. I mean, I didn't even make it 4 stages in. I don't know what's with video games doing that, where they pull out the stops second, third stage in the game. Just like Jackie Chan. I was like, well, what the fuck is that? Stage 4? You know, not stage like 12 or something, you know, literally 30% or 15% of the game you're going to do that sort of stuff. I don't approve of that at all. But luckily I can beat Donkey Kong Country 3 and I can't beat Uniracers, but I would at least kind of be able to say it'll at least be entertaining to kind of watch, which I just think is like the concept behind it here. So I would like to find more PlayStation games that I can actually complete. I just think that that's like the thing about it, but it just depends. I'm not gonna do, like, if I ever do more Final Fantasy games like this, I mean, apart from Final Fantasy 7, but if I do more games besides these for Final Fantasy, I'm not gonna do 50, 60-minute videos like this anymore. It's just, I don't know what I was thinking by doing that. It's like, nope, this is quite the chore, you know? Which I do not appreciate. I'm just kind of running out of stuff to kind of convey right now. Pretty hungry. So I'm going to have to say I'm pretty hungry and stuff. I just have to, the Cerberus are back, which is pretty dope out of me. Yep, I'm starting to get hungry. I need some food. Once I get this episode done, I'm going to get it edited, and then it's going to be uploaded, and then I'm going to go get some food. That's kind of the thing. Maybe I'll go get that mac and cheese box. That would be something. Maybe we'll just do that on a whim. That would totally be something to kind of randomly do. It's just for me to go get that mac and cheese box and say, fuck it. Even though it's 11 o'clock in the morning, I don't really care. I'll eat mac and cheese in the AM hours, you know? It does not offend me. Just like some people say, you want a cheeseburger at 10 a.m.? Like, yeah, and? You know, some folks are pretty partial about that. Just to kind of say, some folks, they want their scrambled eggs and bacon and pancakes and hash browns and that type stuff at 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I'm different. I can eat breakfast. That's why I like Denny's and places like that, because you can eat breakfast at like 6 o'clock in the evening. It's breakfast for somebody everywhere. I mean, you gotta understand that. That's the truth about it. So that's how I see it. That's why I like Denny's. I like those kind of places. I like Village Inn and some of those places like that. They work, you know. Waffle House, that's another good one. You know, makes me wonder if Waffle House serves bacon there. I don't know if they just specialize purely in waffles or if they're breakfast type folks. But all right, so that should about wrap up this episode. We'll get that squared away, and then I'll see you after doing some grinding next time, folks.